Good morning, guys. How you guys doing this morning? Good to have you. Welcome to Ask Me Anything, Real Talk with Smart Money Bro, live. We are live. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And we're going to have a conversation today, guys. It's going to be more of just a Q&A, just a Q&A where we talk and just kind of answer questions or have conversations. It's really about Ask Me Anything. If you can hear me okay, guys, and my mic is all right, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me. I really would appreciate it. And looks like we already got some folks that have chimed in here. Mark Moore's here. Good morning, Mark. Greta is here. Good morning, Greta. And again, if you can hear me, let me know, guys, with a little thumbs up. That would be great for me. Happy New Year to you, Greta, by the way. And then we have Lanita Cheatham is in the house. Good morning to you as well. So yeah, guys, give me a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Millie Mill, nice name. I like that. Let me know where you're coming from, guys. Where you checking in from? City, state, county, country, jurisdiction, regional area, continent. You name it, guys. Happy New Year to you too, Paula. Yeah, let me know where you're stepping in from, guys, and we're gonna just kind of have a free for all, kind of a live. I'm gonna really focus in on the chat, and if you guys have a question, which I hope you do have a question because it's a Q&A, it's an open forum, doesn't have to be about money, doesn't have to be about finances. It's anything in the world that you want to ask me. It could be about money and finances and investing and all that good stuff, or it could just be about how's my day, right? Doesn't really matter, guys. We can do this however you want to do it. A few weeks back, guys, I asked about what do you guys think about a title for the show, and I got a bunch of them, and I'm kind of leaning towards the real talk with Smart Money Bro. That's where I'm kind of leaning to, guys. Let me know, and we can have that conversation too. But you, after I get these overactive tear ducts in order, you can ask me anything. All right. Let's see. Colorado's here. Good to have you. Well, let me see. Let's start back up from the top here. I'm going to really focus in on the chat today, guys. So if you got any questions or anything you want to ask, just drop it in the chat right there, and we can go from there. Morning to you, Reed Wise. Good morning. Checking in from Detroit, Michigan, where it's probably really cold, John. Man, Detroit. Good city up there. Detroit Pistons. They're having a tough time in the NBA right now. Mrs. Moore is in Atlanta. Good to have you. Let's see. Queens, New York. Queensbridge. Paula Simmons. Good to have you. Mark Moore. Thanks for the thumbs up, Mark. Jay, Birmingham, Alabama. I got some family from Perry County, Alabama, from years ago. I'm a genealogy person, so I like to study history and stuff and genealogy. Reed Wise is in Chicago, South Side, North Side. Where you at there? You near Wrigley Field, Cubs fan or White Sox fan? That's the big question in Chicago. One conservative chick is in Savannah, Georgia. Good to have you. Thanks for letting me know. Colorado is in the house. I'm going to work on that right there. Colorado, the Rocky Mountain State. Good to have you. John, thanks for the thumbs up. Freedom is not free. Good name. Rockland, California is in the house. Not sure where Rockland is. I might look that up on the map. But, of course, RC is checking in from Boynton Beach, Florida, one of my favorite words to say in the world, Boynton. Ira, my friend Ira, representing the dot, Kansas City, Wyandotte County. Good to have you, Ira. Good to see you and talk to you. Corvette Girl is in Long Island, New York. Also, Long Island, New York. Got to get that accent right. Francisco, good morning to you. Mexico. From let's see, Nayarit, Mexico. I live in Hawaii. Okay, good. Mrs. Moore asked a question off the bat. I like it, Mrs. Moore. I appreciate it. Thanks for putting that Q in there too. Again, guys, this is a live Ask Me Anything in the world. It doesn't have to be about finances, or it can be about real estate, finances, whatever it may be. Personal finances, right? Maybe you have a personal question about your own personal situation. We can have that conversation too. But I wanted to kind of leave this open because a lot of times I come in here on Saturdays and I kind of tell you stuff and talk to you and give you information. And this time I wanted to say, hey, let's have some back and forth and feedback, and I want to hear from you guys, and we'll just keep it kind of open-ended. Mrs. Moore asked a question. She says, what do you think about investing in mobile homes? I think it's okay. The problem with mobile homes sometimes is just frankly, with mobile homes, um, the appreciation on the property sometimes is not what you want it to be, right? Because you got to think about mobile homes. What's the biggest thing in real estate? It's location, location, location. Well, with mobile homes, the location of every mobile home is amongst other mobile homes or a mobile home community. Now, it's not always nothing wrong with that, right? Depends on where you are, right? A mobile home community, some mobile home communities are well taken care of. They look very nice. They're well put together. They're in nice areas, etc. Some mobile home communities, frankly, are not like that. So you got to be real careful with investing in mobile homes. Just the appreciation and location sometimes could be some of the drawbacks. But if you find a good mobile home community, it's well taken care of. It's in an area that is sometimes mobile home communities are a little bit more worth more if they're sort of their own community, a mile, 2 miles back. But it just depends where you are, what city. Nothing wrong with it if you can find a good investment in a good, solid mobile home, or mobile home community is what you're looking for real. Question, Derica, Latisse, how you doing? Good to have you here as always. Do you think I should go with a bank lender or private lender for a mortgage? All depends. Who's going to give you the better rate? Who's going to give you the better terms, right? Are the terms going to be the same, if equal? I don't know that matters too much if it's equal. A bank's going to be there a long time, but they're going to sell your mortgage. Private lender's going to be there, but they're going to sell your mortgage. Your mortgage is probably going to get sold, no matter if you go with a bank or a private lender. You might, if you don't want your mortgage to get sold, you might check with both and say, hey, are you guys in the private? But they always sell. Every lender sells your mortgage. So it happens no matter what, and they can't predict it. So, they don't know what's going to happen with the lending company in a year or two. So I don't think it matters. I think the most important thing is your terms, right? What are the terms you're getting? What are you paying for your mortgage? That's the biggie. So I think that is the big issue there. Thanks for asking that question, Derica. Snowy and windy Cleveland, Ohio. John, good to have you here. Yeah, it's snowed here where I'm at as well. Jameel Middlebrooks, do you think life insurance is a viable resource for investing? Jameel, no. Unless you're rich. No, I don't think you ought to invest with your life insurance policy. That's my opinion, right? Everybody has a different opinion on that. I'm more of a term life guy. Term life, get the inexpensive insurance, keep it for a term, because and while you have it for that term, the goal is to become ultimately self-insured so that when you get to be 50, 60, 70 years old, you've got $500,000. And in fact, you've got, even if you only have $50,000 of life of term life or $100,000 of term life, by the time you get 60, 70 years old, you want to be able to have more than $100,000 to your estate so that you can pass on that money. But I'm not a big fan of investing within insurance. And I know a lot of people do it. A lot of people talk about, you can, become your own bank and all that. I'm not really big on that. I like to keep it really, really simple. Sometimes whole life, or sometimes even universal life insurance policies, they can get a little bit convoluted. They can get a little bit complicated. They can get a little bit, you got to read the fine print. And I just don't like investing in a life insurance policy. Now, when you get a little richer, when you get $1 million or you're $1.5 million or you got $2 million net worth, then you want to play with some different things in terms of whole life insurance or some cash value insurance, right? It's more viable to do it that way. But don't, if you're making $30,000 a year and you're struggling to get by and you're trying to figure out how you can make some extra money, don't go plopping $500 a month on a life insurance policy because you think that in 10 years you can borrow from it. That's not building wealth to me. I don't do that. So good question, Jamil. I appreciate you asking that because life insurance is a hot topic. Man, you mention life insurance anywhere on the internet, and you got these life insurance agents that'll pop up. You got people that hate life insurance agents, right? I think there is a use for every product, but sometimes whole life insurance or cash value insurance is sold to the wrong people, in my opinion. I think that's a good product, perhaps, for somebody that already has a bunch of money. If you walk in there with $5 million and you're a millionaire and you want to play with some different things, great. But if you're trying to build wealth through a cash value life insurance, there's better ways to build wealth than trying to do it through that. Palm Beach County, Florida. Seminole, good to have you. Little Rock, Derek is in Little Rock, Arkansas. Fantastic. I'm one of the few people up here that I don't really have any. Both of my parents were from Mississippi, not Arkansas. I'm in the Kansas City area. In the Kansas City area, a lot of people come from Arkansas up to Kansas City, just like a lot of people went from Mississippi up to St. Louis and up to Chicago. And people in South Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Eastern Georgia seaboard, they went up to New York, right? When the migration happened after the end of slavery in 1865. Let's see here. Texas folks, they went up and went west. A lot of them went to California. But anyway, the Great Migration. Let's see here. Maggie's in Michigan, cold and freezing. Absolutely. Man, I'm not a fan of winter at all, guys. I think winter is for winter is for seals, walruses, penguins, and polar bears, not for humans. I like warm weather. Let's see. Renat Shotwell says, question, what is an example of the simplest budget, fewest categories I can do? I should show you my budget. I didn't plan to show you a budget, but I do a very, very simple budget. Okay, Renate, I do an extremely simple budget. There are no categories. I don't put categories on my budget. I just pay bills 2 times a month. If you look at my budget, it'll have income up here. It'll have, because I get paid every 2 weeks for my job. So I have first 2 weeks, the first, and then I have the 15th, all in one spreadsheet. First, 15th. Let me see if I have an example of that, because I think I might have an example. Bear with me here. Let me see if I can find that to really answer your question, at least show you what I'm talking about here. But I don't know if I can show you. Let's see. I think I can show you. Let's see here. Give me a second. I'm gonna share my screen with you real quick to answer this question. It's a great question. Great question. Okay, let's see here. I'll show you exactly how I do it. Okay, you should be seeing my screen, right? Yep, you see my screen, right? Now, this is not my numbers, but it's basically how I do my budget, and I don't even have these color-coded on my budget, by the way. I just happen to have them color-coded here because this was an example I was using for someone. So this is all I do. Income's up top, pay date. Get paid the 1st, 15th. Now, this won't always be January 1st. It just happens to be January 1st to, this month or in January or on this example. It could be January 5th. It could be January 18th, right? But just 2 times a month, I'm committed to paying my bills. So this is the amount. I put my take home right here. And this is exactly pretty much how my budget looks, except it doesn't have any of these colors on it. It's just plain, very plain. And so any cushion I have, I put it up here. My expenses, I put over here, right? I do my monthly expenses. I don't really do this on every single month. I only do it on really the first month. But I have expenses for this 2 weeks. I'm looking at this as a long, elongated deal. And I have my expenses for this 2 weeks, right? Giving is always at the top of all my budgets, okay? I always give. Tithe, whatever it takes, right? Helping other people, whatever. Always give. Very top. That's a principle. I don't waver from that principle. So food, all the things you need, rent. Now, if you have any miscellaneous, I always, like this miscellaneous could be, $300, could be $200, could be an extra savings that I'm using something for. But this is basically how my budget looks. It's not anything fancy. It's just real simple. It's not categories. It's exactly what needs to be paid when it needs to be paid. I keep a cushion for miscellaneous. I keep a cushion because I have older cars. I keep a cushion, so that's basically how it looks. And I have to figure these things out. So if I don't have enough money to pay, rent is, I just kind of even them out, if that makes any sense. I hope that answered the question. That was a long answer, but you get what I'm saying. So I don't use categories. Great question, though. I appreciate it. Des Moines, Iowa in the house, by the way. Good to have you. And I think Des Moines is just got a snowstorm, too. Virginia Beach, Brit Tech. I like it out there in Virginia Beach. Newport News and all that area. Really comfortable area out there. Hampton Roads. Been out there a few times. Atlanta, Georgia in the house. Memories in action. Good to have you. ATL, good. Stone Mountain area. Guys, one of the reasons I like to know where you're from is because I used to teach geography. I was a teacher back in the 90s, and I taught geography. So this, again, guys, this is Ask Me Anything, real talk with Smart Money Bro. Money, not money. I'm going by all your questions that you ask in the chat, and we'll just keep it informal. There's some free stuff in the description box below, by the way. 24 Laws of Money, free ebook. Kind of talks about my story, but gives you 24 laws that have helped me grow my money over the course of 23 years or so. Also in the description box, Mint Mobile. There's a link to that. I'm a big fan. You hear me talk about Mint Mobile all the time. I don't do a lot of affiliate marketing with a lot of people, although I get emails for it every single day, tons of emails. But when I find somebody I like Mint Mobile, I use them, and I actually I go for it, and I talk about them a little bit because I'm a user of the product. So and please press the like button for me, guys. Please share this link. This is going to be an honest, transparent question answer. Please share the link, and also, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the channel. We talk money, managing money, growing money. Sometimes we'll talk about the U.S. economy, what's happening. Thinking about doing a video about what's going on over in Yemen and how they've been, there's a group that's been restricting the Red Sea and some of the trade going on, and how that could trickle down and affect America in terms of oil prices and so forth. So that's something I'm thinking about talking about. But that, we talk about things that are going to affect us and our pocketbook, stock market, you name it. So let's see here. Reed Quees. I'm a little behind on the chat, guys, so bear with me. Formerly West Side Plainfield. I don't know where Plainfield is. Is that New York? Okay, Millie Mill. How do you feel about the new Bitcoin ETFs? Millie Mill, the new Bitcoin ETFs. Well, I see there's some big players, right? BlackRock and I think JP Morgan. They got some big players out there playing. Man, it's snowing again. Goodness gracious. All right, so they got some big players playing in the Bitcoin ETF. But I took notice that Vanguard stayed away from it. Now, I don't know if that's a good move on Vanguard's part or not. Now, you guys know that when you have a company like, say, a Blockbuster, right? Remember when Blockbuster was big? You want to get a movie on Friday night? They passed on the new wave that happened with streaming, right? So Blockbuster missed it. And I'm just curious and wondering, is Vanguard going to be the Blockbuster of brokerage accounts? Because they passed up on something as simple as the Bitcoin ETFs. So the Bitcoin ETFs just came out, just were approved by the I think it's the SEC, but there's still some unregulation going on with the Bitcoin. So I'm a little bit on the fence, to be honest with you. I'm not all in on Bitcoin. I'm not all in on Bitcoin. No. Like I was listening to Diamond talk, and Diamond said, like I believe, he said, the real winner is the technology behind the Bitcoin, which is the blockchain. So I'm more of a blockchain fan, obviously, right? I think that's where the piece is going to be. Bitcoin itself, I'm of the opinion, guys, that, and I could be totally wrong here, but I'm of the opinion that the first big anything usually doesn't end up being the biggest. So perhaps, in my opinion, perhaps Bitcoin is going to give way to another coin, right? That is going to ultimately be the one that's practical and useful and works with everyday commerce, etc. So I'm okay with Bitcoin. I'm not fully in on Bitcoin. I have less than 0.001% of my net worth in coins, right? So could it be? Maybe. I don't know how to feel just yet about the new Bitcoin ETFs. Hope that answers your question, Millie Mill. That was really straddling the fence, but I am straddling the fence on it because I don't know what to think. I see that some of the big players are in it. I might go out and buy a little bit of it, but I won't mess around with too many ETFs in Bitcoin just yet. But we'll see, right? I got to do a little more homework on it. Just be very cautious about it, right? Bitcoin is still unregulated. It's still very fresh in the market. There's still is there a lot of utilitarian use for it, practical use for Bitcoin? I don't know. Is Bitcoin just a distraction, right? That maybe there's something else working that we got to pay attention to? I just don't know yet. I got to keep doing my research on the Bitcoin ETF. So that's just an honest, flat out answer. I don't know 100% just yet. Maricela, beautiful name, Maricela. I like that name. Hello, I think that's more of a, that Italian? Or I don't know. Okay, or Spanish. Hello from Arizona. Good to have you from the great state of Arizona. I have a great aunt that lives out there in Arizona. My Aunt Effie. Hey, Smart Money Bro, could you give a bit of a breakdown on drips, right? Drips, dividends, dividend, reinvestment. I don't know if you guys are big on drips or not. Do you like drips? Do you not like drips, right? Drips is just when you, it's just basically when you reinvest the dividends, right, into additional shares of a stock or additional shares of additional fractional shares, right? It's just reinvesting the money. That's all it is. It's taking the profit that the company decides to share with the shareholders, right? Every company, not every company, some companies decide to share those profits with shareholders. And you got to be careful if be careful about trying to get too big of a dividend, right? Companies that give, some companies, not all, but some that give too big of a dividend, they're trying to incentivize you to invest in them, right? Invest in their stock. And so sometimes when companies give too big of a dividend, they get to the point where they kind of overextend themselves, right? And it's not really a long-term sustainable growth thing for a company to do, to give large dividends. Now, there's been companies that, good, solid value companies that have given dividends for years and years and years, and giving dividends is good, right? Good incentive. But I always recommend you reinvest that dividend. So that's what a drip is, right? It's just reinvesting those dividends that companies provide for you. I hope that helped you out real quick. Let's see here. Question, Derica says, what type of life insurance do I recommend? I recommend a good, solid term life insurance. If you're, if you have a $500,000 net worth, then get you a $100,000 policy and pay your $30-40 a month and hold on to it for a term, however long you're comfortable with. If you have a $30,000 net worth and it's going to take a while, you're trying to build some wealth, then get you a 20-year policy or a 25-year policy and go from there and start building your wealth so that you can ultimately be self-insured and you will no longer need that. See, the life insurance, I believe, I hate to sound like Primerica, right? But I think Primerica hits on it when they say that the life insurance is for the people when you leave. It's not really for you while you're here, right? There's all type of other investments for that you can enjoy while you're here. But I recommend a good, solid term life insurance policy. And the term could be however long you decide, right? Whenever you see the word term in anything, that means how long. So 15 years, 10 years, if you have $750,000 in net worth and you have no one that's going to depend on you, maybe you have a spouse or somebody that's going to depend on you when you pass away, then maybe you get a 10-year policy, right? 10-year, $100,000 policy, no big deal. But, if you have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old at home and, you're trying to make sure that you're covered and they're covered if something happens to you, they're covered, then you might want to go ahead and get a 20-year term, right? Because somebody's relying on you for longer on your salary. So I think the term life is a little bit better. No problem, Seminole. Not a big deal. Let's see here. Somebody said, Joseph, have I ever used a financial advisor? No, I have not used a financial advisor. I'm not against financial advisors, okay? I think financial advisors are good. They have their place, right? They're very important, especially for people that don't know much about money or don't feel comfortable making their own decisions about money. But I always try to challenge people to say, listen, money is not very complicated. This is why I talk about this a lot on this channel. Money can be very, very simple. It's not, if you can learn to do whatever you do on your job at your workplace, you can probably learn how to manage your money properly and how to invest properly. Investing doesn't have to be complicated. They make investing complicated to keep the pool of investor. They don't want everybody can't be rich. Everybody everybody can be rich, but everybody won't be rich. That's not how the system is designed, right? So the reason I believe, this is my opinion, they don't teach you these things in school about money. The stuff I talk about on my channel, it should be required course 10th, 11th, 12th grade for all young students, right? It should be just like you have to take for when you go to college, you have to take, usually in college, you have to take composition 1, composition 2, right? That's English, basically. English 1, English 2. You should have to take basic personal finance 1, basic personal finance 2, in almost everything, for almost any major. That should be the thing that you have to take. And everybody knows this, right? I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here. Everybody knows that that's what we should all do. But guess what? They don't do it. And there's a reason they don't do it, right? It's too much like the right common sense thing to do. This is something everybody should know this stuff. And everybody can know it. It's not complicated. It's not difficult, right? Investing in the stock market is not difficult, right? They give you all these different words and they have their own set of jargon and language, right? But it's not that difficult, right? It's not really that difficult. And so I think you can learn it if you really want to learn it. Now, if you don't want to learn it, I'm not mad at financial advisors, right? I'm not mad at physical therapists, right? Physical therapies, I kind of equate physical therapists to financial advisors, right? They're helping you do something that, you could really learn how to do on your own. I'm not mad at those two professions at all, right? But I'm saying most of us can probably learn this stuff on our own. But if you don't want to, it's nothing wrong with getting a financial advisor. I've never used a financial advisor, right? Now, don't get me wrong. 1994, let me give you this story. 1994, 95, I'm in my first year of teaching school. And after school, there's a guy comes by. His name was Larry Collins. He might even be watching this. Larry Collins comes by. He's an insurance agent. He sits me down in my classroom after school and talks to me about financial stuff, right? An annuity and all this good stuff. I sign up for an annuity, right? I end up getting rid of the annuity, but he hips me to these compound interest calculators. And so I started looking at these compound interest calculators and I started getting very interested in it. Wow, this is how my money can grow in 20 years. This is what'll happen. Wow, this is pretty neat, right? And there's no internet at this time. So I'm sitting here looking at the tables, right? So lo and behold, that really sparked something in me, right? It really sparked something in me so that when I stopped teaching in 2000, 2001, when I left teaching, I said, wow, I have this teacher pension sitting over here with, $10,000 in it. It had accumulated to $10,000, my pension. I said, man, I'm starting to work with the federal government. Let me go ahead and move that money over. So it sat there for a year or two or whatever. Then I moved that money over. But I was always thinking back to that conversation that he had with me, showing me these compound interest tables, right? So, and he was a financial advisor, an insurance salesperson who I think he had a few other Series 69, Series 71 or whatever. So listen, an advisor is good if you don't want to learn this stuff, you don't want to get into it, you really don't want to get in the weeds. But there's also ways you could not get in the weeds and just simply invest in, say, ETFs, index funds, right? Some life funds where you just set it and forget it. And along the way, it changes and moves and the reallocation happens behind the scenes without you really seeing it. So there's a lot of ways you can do it without having to understand the full details, right? Everybody doesn't want to read 10Ks, right? 10Ks or 10Qs, right? That's the quarterly reports or the yearly reports for each company. Everybody doesn't want to read those things, right? There's some people, I don't mind them, but some people, they don't want to read a profit loss statement of AT&T. They just want to invest in a bunch of stocks in a bucket and call it a day in a particular index or sector, right? And that's what index funds and ETFs are. So, it's interesting to know a little bit more about money. Some people are intimidated by it. I'm telling you, you can conquer this thing called money and investing and all that good stuff. It just takes a little bit of reading and understanding on your part, and that's all. right? But if you want to use an advisor, it's cool. Go for it. John asked a great question. What was the dumbest thing you ever did with money? Man, I got a bunch of them. One of them, when I was 18 years old, I went out and bought a brand new 1988 Ford Escort. 20-something, 21% interest. I put $1,400 down. It wasn't smart, right? But I was a waiter at a restaurant for 3 years, and I saved up my money from tips and all that good stuff. And so lo and behold, I went out and bought me a brand new 1988 Ford Escort. And here was the dumbest part. Let me tell you the dumbest part. It wasn't just purchasing it with a 20-something% interest. It was that when I bought it, I couldn't add all the accessories. So I had to either add air condition or AM FM cassette stereo, right? AM FM cassette stereo or air conditioner. Guess which one I picked? I picked the AM FM cassette stereo because I wanted to ride and roll the windows down and look good. So I had a brand new 1988 Ford Escort with no air conditioner that I was making payments on with 20% interest. How dumb was that? I was 18 years old. Dumbest move. That's one of the dumbest moves I've ever made with money. I hope that helps. John said, question, do you still sell on eBay? Very, very little. I don't really list a lot of things on eBay. I haven't listed on eBay in over a year. But every now and then I'll have something that sells, and I don't even really put on sales, S-A-L-E, on eBay. Because sometimes if you have your stuff on eBay and you want to move merchandise, you want to go ahead and do a 40% off. You want to do a 50% off. You want to do a 60% off everything in the store, right? So you can move your merchandise and get it sold. So I really haven't done any of that either because I'm on YouTube and I'm doing voiceover, so things are taking my time. You can only be in so many places strong. So I don't really sell much on eBay every now and then. Can I do a video about e-commerce, selling, taxes, customer service? Yes, I may do that absolutely coming up. Speaking of taxes, if you sell on eBay, my eBay store was audited by the IRS. And really, I was a sole proprietor, so I was audited by the IRS. I took bad records, threw a lot of stuff away 2 years after I did my taxes. So I ended up owing a bunch of taxes to the IRS, but I paid it off. But still, if you do eBay or you sell e-commerce, please, please, please get a good CPA, a good, solid CPA. Trust me, you don't want to make a mistake on your taxes. You don't want the heat of the IRS auditing you because they're just mean for no reason, right? They don't have to be mean. They're just mean for no reason. Let me just put it like that. So I went back and forth with them. I found some things, didn't find some things. I ended up owing them a lot of money. But I paid them off quickly. So good question, John. So yeah, every now and then I'll sell something will sell and I'll ship it out. I'm a shoe guy, so I did mostly shoes on eBay. Not sneakers, men's and women's shoes, casual. I tell you what sells really on eBay for shoes is diabetic shoes or shoes that may be special fit shoes, right? Those things actually sell. They're pretty expensive. Let's see here. One conservative said the mobile home itself may not appreciate. That's why if you have it, it doesn't need to be in a park. Yeah, that's a good point. Huntington Bank. Let's see. Question. Do you have a lawyer on retainer for my real estate business in case you need them? No, I don't. I don't keep a lawyer on retainer. But I do have a lawyer. That I can call and get information from and so forth that I use. But I don't keep one on retainer. I only have 2 properties. If I had 50 properties, I may. Okay? It depends really on how big is your real estate business? How big is your rental business, right? So I don't have one on retainer. But this is Ask Me Anything, guys. Live Q&A. It can be about money. It can be about cars. The weird thing about me, guys, is for some reason, I know a lot about a lot of different things, which is, I guess I just read a lot, but I just know a lot about a lot of different things. And it could be anything. Doesn't have to be money, but it can be money. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that as well. Corvette Girl said, term indeed. Jason checking in from the Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Fantastic. Good to have you, man. I wonder what the weather's like. Let us know. Little League, let us know what the weather is in Amsterdam today. John, what are the steps to invest in the S&P 500? I already have a target date fund for my 401k, but I want to invest in the S&P 500. If you want to invest in the S&P 500, in my opinion, John, I think you need to be looking at something like something like maybe a Vanguard overall S&P 500 fund, right? That's really what I would be investing in. Or now you might be doing Schwab, or you might be on what do you call it? E-Trade. You might be on a lot of different ones. Whatever you're on, I would look at whatever service you're using, whether it's Fidelity or whatever. I would look at an S&P 500 ETF, right? Right? S&P 500 ETF. That's what I would be looking at if I were you, in terms of getting into the investing in the S&P. So, in my opinion, that's what I would do, right? And then, of course, the steps are just simply you open up a brokerage account and you tie that brokerage account to your checking, savings, wherever you want the money to come from. If you're on Vanguard, your money's going to go to a settlement account. Then you go to that settlement account and you push that money over to VOO or wherever you want to go. All right. Mommy Trader, good to have you, Mommy Trader. Guys, check out her channel. She's on YouTube as well. Mommy Trader in the chat. She's got a channel, so please check her out as well. Just have term. Yep, same here. Just term insurance, guys. I prefer to do my own investing instead of investing through the confines of an insurance policy. Let's see here. One conservative, okay, taking over 40 years of life insurance training in Georgia. Let's see. Hello, Frigid Cole from Minnesota. Oh my goodness. Watch me thrive. Man, I would get out of Minnesota if I were you. I'd get out of there as soon as possible because, man, I don't like that cold. Let's see here. Paula Simmons said, when I get to 59 and a half, do you think I should take money from my 403B to pay off one of my high interest credit cards? Paula, I don't know how old you are right now, Paula. No, I don't think you should. I think you should just pay off your high interest credit card. Just do the debt snowball and try to get that paid off without dipping into any of your retirement money or anything like that. You want that? I don't know how you want that retirement money to come to you. If you want it to come to you on a slow drip, $500 a month, or how you have it set up. But I wouldn't just specifically take all that money. But if you want to, and you have $500,000 sitting in there, and you got a high interest credit card that only has a $20,000 balance on it, then sure, you might be in a position to pull that. There's a lot of variables at stake there, Paula. What's your money look like, right? What does your overall investments look like? How much do you need to live off the invested money in your 403B? And do you have, how much is the actual credit card or the high interest credit card balance? Is the high interest credit card balance $500 or is it $30,000, right? All that stuff makes a difference. This is why, guys, I always think personal finance is really, really personal. That's why I encourage people to have a conversation with me. If you get on the advanced level of this channel, excuse me, I do one-on-ones for 20 to 30 minutes once a month with you, and you only pay $24, $25, right? And we talk about your personal situation, because then I can break it down to you, Paula, the best route to go in terms of your personal situation once you give me a few details. But otherwise, I do one-on-ones, and that link is down in the description box below, because sometimes you need to spend 2 hours talking to somebody and sharing a Zoom screen and sharing screens and going through your budget line by line, seeing where you can cut, where you can't cut, et cetera. And having that type of accountability is important. That's why I do one-on-ones with folks. So there's a lot of different things to think about. I'm way behind in the chat, guys. Bear with me. Dane Elk Grove, California. Good to have you. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tuscaloosa. All right. I don't think I've been through Alabama one time. I think somebody I know is in Fort Payne, Alabama. All right. What would you do with 10K at 20? Good question. 10K at 20. So, okay. Couple of things. Okay. Ayo, Marco. Couple of things. First of all, what's your skills? Are you working on getting some high paying skills at 20? You're only 20. At 20, you could be anything in the world you want to be. Be something that's going to earn you some money. I'm not a passion guy. I am not a passion guy. I'm going to say that again. I'm not a passion guy. I'm not going to tell you, just go do your passion. No, because passion don't pay the bills. Passion ain't never paid a rent. Passion don't pay. Passion don't pay anything. Right? Passion is okay. It's great. Everybody has passion, but I want you to have skills, right? Because I want you to make sure that when you get 35 years old and you have a couple of children and you're married or whatever, if you're married or not, if you have children or not, when you're 35 years old, I want you to be able to pay your bills and put a whole bunch of money in the stock market, a whole bunch of money into buying real estate. And you can't do that with passion, right? It's good. Everybody has passion. My thought is that passion is for you, right? Passion is for you. Purpose is for other people. Find a way to make money at whatever your purpose is, right? Find a way to make money at your purpose. Perhaps your purpose is, in fact, designing structures and designing buildings and using your talent to actually design things, right? So your purpose is to be an architect. Find ways to make money as an architect. Maybe your purpose is just to be a cook, which is nothing wrong with that, to cook and provide people with food. Now, for your passion, go feed the hungry on Saturday. But for your job, become a high-powered chef so you can actually make money at your purpose. Your purpose is for other people. That's my opinion. Passion for you, purpose for others. So I know I'm off topic, but 10K at 20 depends on some things. But I would be looking at perhaps making sure that as you take and pay, I would be paying that money first to make sure I have a high-paying skill. That means that means getting that extra certification, I'd take that 10K to get that extra certification. If that means get that extra college degree, I'd take that 10K and get that extra college degree. Because you at 20, you want to set yourself up for 30, right? So I would not take 10K at 20 and go drop it all into Bitcoin ETF or drop it all into VOO or VTI or VTIX, whatever. I wouldn't do that first, okay? I would make sure that I'm just developing my foundation with money at 20 years old. And my foundation with money is a high-paying skill. I know, call me weird, okay? But at 20 years old, you got time. Let's say you take that 10K and you spend 2 years getting that high-paying skill. Well, that 2 years is not going to kill you at the age of 20, right? It's not going to kill you to be out of the market for 2 years because you're trying to develop a skill and a foundation, right? If you don't live at home and you live on your own at 20, and maybe you're already working on that good college degree or that good skill or certification, whatever, and you don't need the 10K for that, then perhaps I would make sure I have some emergency money just in case some things go wrong at my house, in my apartment, or et cetera, with my car with that 10K. Guys, I'm big on making sure that you're covered. Your bases are covered, right? I want you to invest money, but I don't want you to invest 10K in the stock market and you don't even have $500 to change a tire when the tire on your truck goes out. I want you to be able to change the tire on your truck. I want you to be able to replace the stove, replace your washer. I want you to be able to make sure that you have some cash to pay your rent in case you lose your job, right? So if I were you at 20, I would make sure my bases are covered. High-paying skill or emergency fund. Make sure those, and if you have an emergency fund, go ahead and put that in a high-yield savings account so you can get 2, 3, 4% return. That's what I would do at 20 with 10K. If you already got all that stuff covered, then I would look at taking that 10K and investing it in the stock market. That's what I would do. Good question. Man, I took a long time to answer that. I'm sorry, I'm getting further behind. I'm going to catch up. Where are you from, Derica, if you moved to Little Rock when you were 20? Let's see. Funny, I had a similar question regarding life insurance. Let's see. Is that employment? Foreign country. I'm just trying to make sure I hit some of these guys. Somebody said, will it be worth it to use a HELOC to purchase a foreign property? As an employment benefit, working in a foreign country can get $40K a year maximum for 5 years, $200K. Foreign bank doesn't like to approve mortgage. Will it be worth it to use a HELOC to purchase a foreign property? Listen, freedom is not free. If you want to, long distance landlording is bad. It's not something that you want to think about doing unless you are going to go back and forth to that city. If you plan to be there for a while, 5, 10 years more, sure, go for it. If you can get a HELOC, but if not, I wouldn't use it for that. Right? There's two questions here. Would I use a HELOC to invest in property, and would I invest in foreign property in a foreign country? HELOC, I'm not a big fan of using HELOCs to purchase property, but at the same, not a big fan. It depends on your situation. But also, I'm not a big fan of purchasing property in foreign countries unless you plan to go back and forth to that foreign country on a regular basis, right? Because ultimately, if you move back to where you were from and you still have that property there and you want to say rent it out or lease it, I'd just be very careful about it. I got to know more, Freedom, to answer that question. Know a little bit more about your situation, but I would be very leery of that. I'm not a big fan of using the HELOCs for that. Okay, somebody asked the question, do I recommend whole life permanent versus term life? I'm a term life guy, as I said earlier, guys. I'm a term life guy. The rep says converting from my current term to my whole life is better. No, don't. You don't want to build up cash. It's not that important. Unless you got a couple $1 million, just use term life insurance and don't invest your money through a cash value in life insurance. I don't think that's necessary. Just my opinion. Let's see here. John says, I'm nearly a millionaire. Good for you. Congratulations, John. How did you how did I get into debt before age 30, and how did I build up my credit score? So good question, Oliver. I got into debt because I bought cars. I had payments on cars. Before 2000, I had payments on cars. I didn't own any property before 2000, but I did had student loans and I had car debt. That was my two things that I had. And in terms of my credit score, the very first piece of rental property I got, the way I got into real estate is in the year 2000, I bought two properties. My wife's mom sold us her property on what's called an assumption loan. So she didn't charge us any money. We just assumed the loan, right? So we just assumed the payment, the mortgage payment. So that was how I got the first property. I didn't need a credit because an assumption loan back then, they didn't check your credit. You just took over payments. And so we just took over those payments. And then my first rental property, I bought seller financed. So when I first got into rental property or into buying real estate, I bought two properties in 1 year and my credit didn't have to be checked or used because the person I bought the rental property from, the seller finance, I think he checked my credit. But my credit wasn't great, but he knew it wasn't great, so it was no big deal. He was actually my real estate agent. And he said, hey, I got 10 properties. I'm trying to get rid of one of them. You want to buy one from me? I said, cool. So lo and behold, over the years, though, once you have those couple, I refinanced those properties back in the early 2000s, and that's when I began to build the credit up and so forth. And I also had a credit card, but my credit wasn't great. Nowadays, Oliver, I don't use credit cards. I haven't used a credit card since 2011 or 2011, 12, something like that. So I haven't used a credit card. I'd use debit cards. I know. They're not as safe. And if somebody steals, I get it, guys. But no, I've never had a problem with a debit card. But I don't use credit cards. Don't use them at all. And I built my wealth without them. See, you can build wealth without, I'm not saying you can build wealth without having any credit, because part of my wealth is my real estate. And I had to have credit because I got mortgages on those. But you don't need a credit card necessarily, especially if you don't plan on borrowing money. I haven't borrowed money on anything besides real estate since 2011, maybe 2010, 2011, when I bought a Tundra. Paid it off quick, but I bought it with a deal. I paid it off fast. But the point is no, I haven't bought anything on credit. Haven't needed to. Good morning, Maria. Good to have you here. Glad to see you. 20, 30, 50 is a good budget plan. Can be. Depends on who you are. I don't like to use percentages like that. For me personally, I don't like to use percentages. As I showed you on the budget earlier, if you rewind this back, I just pay my bills. And I pay them twice a month. And the reason I pay them twice a month is because I want 2 extra checks twice a year. I want an extra check twice a year. 2 extra checks every year. If I pay my bills 24 times a year, 2 times a month, but I get paid every 2 weeks, that means twice a year I have extra checks. And that's usually spread out about 5 or 6 months apart, right? I want those extra checks, right? So that's how I do it. Shopping in Columbus, Ohio. All right, Ohio. I got some family or people that are related to me in Dayton, Ohio. They moved from Mississippi to Dayton, Ohio. Let's see here. Years ago, early 1900s, they moved out of Mississippi to Dayton. What assets do you need estate planning for? Well, with estate planning, guys, I think estate planning is a piece. I think estate planning is probably the best $1,500 or $2,000 you can spend with your money. It's money well spent. Estate planning is like that gym membership, right? A gym membership is for 30, 40, 50 bucks a month. That's like the best money. That's like the best $40, $50 you can spend if you use the gym membership, right? I think estate planning is really good because it helps you once you build all this wealth that you want to build for yourself. And it don't have to be a whole bunch of wealth. It could be $50,000. Could be $100,000, right? If you build a little bit of net worth and you have an estate plan, it gives you the opportunity to tell your money what you want to happen with your money when you're no longer here, as opposed to it helps you avoid probate, hopefully, right? So I don't think you need any certain assets. Some people say you get over $100,000 of net worth, boom, I don't think it's a cut and dry number like that. I think it could be $50,000, $60,000. I think when you get a net worth that you feel like you want to make sure you leave in a specific way to a specific group of people, and you don't want the state having their hand and having their say in what you do with your money when you're gone. I don't care if it's $30,000. It's still $30,000, right? It don't have to be $150,000, $200,000. If your estate is only worth $40,000, if you want to figure out what to do with it when you leave, and you want to have a healthcare a POA, right? Power of attorney, healthcare directive, and you want to have all that stuff in place, you don't have to have $100,000 net worth to do it. When you have an asset that you feel, when I say an asset, if you have a $10,000 asset, it may not be worth spending $3,000 figuring out. But if it's important to you, do it. If it's a $50,000, do it, right? Personal finance is personal. Somebody says, how do I relax? That's a great question. Take it off money. How do I relax? I do a lot of working out. That's how I relax, right? I work out, I lift, but I don't lift heavy anymore, right? I'm not the guy that's in the gym trying to, max out on the bench press. It ain't that serious at this age. Right now, I really want to stay in shape. So I do a lot of cardio, and I do a lot of things that utilize my own body, which is pull-ups, push-ups, dips, dips where you jump on the deal and you do your own body weight. I try to do a lot of those type of things, core work, because I don't stretch as much as I probably should. I hate stretching for some reason, but I try to take care of my body and I try to eat right. So relaxation for me would be going to the gym, walking a couple of miles, right? 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 miles, right? I got a bad knee. Guys, if you weren't with me a year ago, I had a really messed up knee. And I swam. I jumped back in the pool for about a year. I was in the pool swimming and swam 3, 4, 5 days a week for about a year. So that was huge. I did that for a while, but I like to stay in shape, and I really like to work on my cardio. Is big for me. So that's one way I relax. I'm a big basketball fan, so I like watching the NBA. I like watching college basketball as well. So those are things I do to relax. I like to read. I'm pretty boring, right? I'm a pretty boring person. Yes, Margot says, do I plan to retire early? Maybe. And when you say early, I'm already 53 years old, right? So when you say early, in the next 5 years, probably, yeah, that'd be good. It depends, right? But that's a great question. How do I get my voiceover gigs? John said. I get my voiceover gigs typically right now through Fiverr. I get a lot of stuff through Fiverr, Fiverr. Great place to go, guys. If you need anything in the world, or if you want to sell anything in the world, get on Fiverr. Sell whatever service or whatever you do, sell it on Fiverr, right? So I get a lot of voiceover gigs from Fiverr. Hanover, Pennsylvania in the house. Stay warm. Rural Nebraska. Maryland's in the house. Good to have you. If you inherit 64 acres of property in Georgia with a billboard, how would you invest it? 64 acres of property in Georgia with a billboard. Ooh, that's nice. I would love to have property with a billboard. First of all, I figure out how can I make some money on the billboard, right? How can I make some money on the billboard? Meaning, who wants to advertise with me? Put a big sign on your billboard that says advertisements, call, boom, 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 boom. Because typically, one of the things I looked into about 10 years ago was buying some billboards, right? How would I invest it or do with it? I would see what it's good for. If you got land, see what it's good for. Is it good for building? Is it good for developing? What's the location of it? What's it zoned for in the county or with the city that it's in? There's a lot of things you can do with that. I'd love to have a conversation about that, Corvette girl, on a one-on-one. And there's a lot to do with that. So I would look for ways to monetize it. That's what I would do. When you're sitting on land and land only, sometimes land can be, you come out of your pocket and pay a lot for land. But you know, what is the potential uses of the land, right? And I definitely activate that billboard for sure. Madison, Wisconsin in the house. Good to have you, Regina. Question, where have you traveled outside the country? I've never been outside the contiguous U.S. Never been outside the U.S. Never, not one time. I'm going to go, though. I plan to go. I plan to go west, too. I haven't been very far west. I'm in the middle of the country. But I have been all along the East Coast, down south, and all that good stuff. But I haven't been far west, out deep in California. But never been. Have I been to Toronto or Canada? I don't think I've been to Canada either. Let's see here. Do you feel it's better to pit 1K in a or say 50 compound interest going faster? Say putting 1K in a one. Sanctioned one. It's almost 6.5, 1/2. How's that saying go? 6.5, 1/2, 1/2 dozen of the others on that question. There would be more information I need on that question. Sanctioned one. Can't really answer that. I'd have to go a little deeper into that right there. But they almost kind of equal each other out. Good morning from Dallas. Good to have you. And I'm trying to catch up, man. Okay, good. Okay, term life, John said. Okay, I'm a newly licensed insurance agent. Congratulations, Maria. Fantastic agent. And the hardest individuals to reach are 25, 30 years. I set up the meeting via Zoom and they don't follow through. Maria, I understand it. Yes, people can be very fickle and very difficult to deal with, but you'll be fine, Maria. Just hang in there, right? You'll be fine. Don't get discouraged, all right? Pierre, question. What was VTSAX's return for 2023? I don't know. We can look it up. Let's pull it up. VTSAX. Let's see here. That's total stock market, by the way. Total stock market index fund with Vanguard, and I think with VTSAX. I think I own some VTSAX, guys, but I think it's the Admiral share, where it's a minimum to get into. Let's just pull it up. Let's see here. 26? Was it 26? Let's do a year. Let's do a 1 year over it. Well, the 1 year, I think the 1 year, I think it was over 20% for the 18.55%, looks like. It was up. Now, stocks have started off a little rough here, and stocks are usually rough, right, in an election year. So just be on the lookout for that, Pierre. But VTSAX did really well in 2023. It didn't do so well in 2022. Salute, Jay Samuels. Good to have you. I've done a one-on-one with some of you folks in the chat, so I'm good to see you here. Good afternoon, everyone. Rashana, good to have you. Let's see here. Questions. Guys, feel free to pepper me. Doesn't have to be money. It could be anything, right? Let's see. In California, there are some people investing on real estate that breaks even. Income equals expense. They do that in a lot of places around the country, that's for sure. They claim the tenant is paying their mortgage principal and worth it to invest. What's my opinion? Great question. Freedom is not free. Income-producing property should be producing income, right? Income-producing property should be producing income. Now, with that said, California real estate is very fickle. That's the second time I used the word fickle. California real estate goes like this, right? Most other real estate in the country doesn't do that. Most other real estate goes like that. And that's just fun to do. You guys ought to try that one day. But California real estate goes up and goes down, right? Way up, way down. So I understand the thought process of doing that in California, because the hope is that in 2026, California real estate is going to go swoop through the roof. And now that $700,000 property that you have in California that you've been breaking even on for 2 or 3 years, when we say breaking even, we mean what you pay on it per month is equal to what your rents that you receive per month. So you're really not making a profit month to month. So the hope is in California that in 2026 or so, the property value goes way up, and that $700,000 home that you've been breaking even on is now worth $900,000, and you can sell it and make money. I understand the premise and the purpose behind that. If you can stomach a few years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe only 1 year of breaking even, and your financial situation is such that you can handle that, everybody, every landlord, every property manager can handle that. But if you can handle that, I'm not totally opposed to it in certain areas of the country where we know real estate is going to go up and go down and go up and go down. But you also have to be able to handle the risk of, in California, the real estate going down, because you're breaking even right now and you're hoping that California real estate goes up. But guess what? It may go down. You got a $700,000 property that may go down to $600,000. What do? Still break even, and wait it out. Maybe. That's the danger, right? There's risk. There's risk involved in real estate. Let's not act like real estate is a surefire investment for every single person that does it. It's not. There's some risk, especially where you are, what type of property you have, and all that good stuff. Now, for the most part, most real estate, if you want to do a comparison, most real estate is going to appreciate in value, right? So just some things to think about. Not totally against it, but just be careful because you've increased your risk. Ask Me Anything Saturday, guys. Real Talk with Smart Money Bro live. It can be anything. I got a K-State shirt on today, guys. I went to K-State, Kansas State University. That's where I got my college degree from. Yes, I like the Royals. Absolutely. Please smash the like button below, guys. Smash it. Hit the like button. It's cool. So good to have you, Tawana. Good to have you. Tawana's like, good to have you. Glad you're here. Thank you for showing up. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Guys, I do one-on-one conversations with people where we jump on the Zoom, or we can do it by phone or Zoom, and have this conversation about your personal finances, right? Because things are different. What may work for Jay Samuels may not work for Elvis. What may work for Maria may not work for Tawana. Everybody's situation is different. There are some things that are some ironclad things in finances and personal finances. But a lot of it depends on you. What is your tolerance for risk? How much money do you have invested already? How old are you? Do you have a parent that's relying on you, or a child that's under 10 that's relying on you, right? Do you live in Seattle, Oakland, California, Manhattan, New York? Or do you live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama? Or do you live in Batesville, Mississippi? Or do you live in St. Louis, Missouri? All this stuff is different. So some of the advice you have, that's why you got to be very careful when you listen to people on the internet. You have to make sure that what you're listening to in terms of money is applicable to you, right? So just want to say that, guys. Deshees, I'm not sure how to say that. Love the channel. I'm from Singapore. Dick Cheese. I'm not sure how to say it, but shout out to you. Thank you so much for being here from Singapore. Good to have you here. Thank you so much. Somebody said, are turnkey properties a scam? Everything is supposedly done for you. The renovation, the property management, the tenant selection. You just buy the property. I don't think they're a scam necessarily, right? Turnkey properties, right? But I think you are buying at the top of the market when you buy a turnkey property. So I always tell people that when you buy real estate, you make money on the buy. You make money when you buy the real estate. So if you buy if the property is worth $200,000 in the market and you buy it for $200,000, you didn't make any money on the buy. You want deals in real estate. This is how you really make money in real estate. You want deals, right? You don't want to buy the $200,000 property for $200,000. You want to buy the $200,000 property for $80,000. You want deals because as soon as you buy the property for $80,000, guess what? You just made $120,000. That's how you make money in real estate. Now, if you want to buy the $200,000 property for $200,000 and you want to hold it for 30 years and make a couple $100,000 in 30 years, that's cool too. But you make your most money when you buy it, and you buy it right in real estate. Don't buy, that's just me. That's my opinion, right? So I don't think they're necessarily a scam, but you have to understand the risk. Think about if you bought that property for $200,000 and next thing you know, we had a slight downturn in the real estate market, and now your property is worth $190,000 2 years later, and you want to sell, right? But you owe, about 2 years later, you owe $193,000, and the property's only worth $190,000. Can't get any money out of it, and you spent 2 years paying on it. So there's some risk involved with that. Let's see here. Let's see. Some Memories in Action said, I have 5 years to go to retire from my job. Congratulations. Job well done. A lot of years spent working. What do I recommend you start doing now? This is one thing I want to tell you, Memories in Action. If you only have 5 years to go, I need you to first figure out what's going to be your second act, right? You're going to try to refire, not just retire, right? So what do you plan to do when you retire to keep yourself busy? What do you want to start to work on? What do you want to start to enjoy, right? Be thinking about that before you retire right now. In terms of, the question was, I do work with a financial advisor. I'm seeking advice. I know there are many ways to approach this. Yes, many ways. I would also, as you begin to get closer to retire, make sure you're starting to live a little more frugal if you can. And then you need to also, another thing, make sure that you figure out what your money is going to be in retirement long before you get there. So have an idea, okay, I bring home $6,000 a month right now. Now, when I retire, I'm only going to bring home about $4,000. So maybe you can start living now like you bring home $4,000 so you're not shocked in 5 years when you retire. That's one thing I would think about doing, making sure you're kind of dialing back your lifestyle just a bit. Dialing back how you spend money and things like that. Because in all honesty, most people are going to make a little less money when they retire. Excuse me. So you want to be prepared for that, right? Don't have sticker shock when you retire. So in terms of your investments and things like that, you want your money to stretch, right? Because you may be 55 retiring or 60 years old retiring. You want your money to stretch for you. So you can be looking at different types of ways with your financial advisor to see how your money can stretch. And also, you have a dilemma coming up. Are you going to get your Social Security at 62, or are you going to wait until you reach FRA, which FRA, they call full retirement age. They call it FRA. So are you going to wait till full retirement age to get your Social Security? You're going to take your Social Security out at 62. Now, can I tell you what I think about that? This is my opinion. By the way, I worked at the Social Security Administration here in America for 6 years, back in the early 2000s. That was my introduction to the federal government. In my opinion, I recommend getting your money out of Social Security as soon as you reach age 62. I recommend you pull your money out as soon as you can. You may die at 64. You may. Here's what I would do. If you get your money at 62 and you don't need it, invest it. Invest it. Then it becomes yours and you know you got it, right? If you don't get your money at 62, let's say you're getting $2,000 a month from Social Security from age 62 to 64. What is $2,000 a month for 24 months? Let me pull up a calculator, guys. I'm really weird like this. Bear with me. All right. So let's say you get $2,000 a month from Social Security for 2 years, from age 62 to age 64. That's $48,000. Yeah, I think I did that right. That's $48,000. Well, guess what, guys? If you get your money, you can if you don't need that money and you still get it from Social Security, you invested $48,000 for 2 years, and that $48,000 that you invested for 2 years, I'm gonna put it into a calculator real quick and tell you what it ends up being over the course of say 10 years, right? So Let's see. All right, I'm doing it. Can I share my screen with you guys? You guys mind? I don't mind. I don't mind being on here for a while, guys. Let's see here. I'm going to try to share my screen with you so you can do it with me. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. So let's say that your current principal is zero. Let's say your annual addition is $24,000 a year over the course of 2 years to get to $48,000 because you're getting, did I say that right? 24,000. You're getting $2,000 a month from Social Security. That's what they're paying you. That's what you should be getting at the age of 62. And you're not touching that money. You're just taking that money and investing that money. So it ends up being $24,000 annually, starting at the age of 62. And let's say over the course of 10 years, that $48,000 over the course of 10 years gets an annual return. Let's just say it's not a large return, 7.5% over 10 years. That $48,000 that you got turns into $364,000. Well, guess what? You die at the age of 64. Oh, 60, yeah, let's say 65, 64. You die at 64, but you got 2 years worth of your Social Security money. You got $48,000. Listen, if you die at 64 and you didn't get your money out at age 62, you didn't get nothing. You got zero, right? Because you let Social Security keep that money. You don't get that money. That's zero. But if you get the money, whether you need it or not, and let's say you don't need it, and you invest the money that you get, you just made, and you're gone, and you're died, and you're gone, right? But your money just turned into $364,000 10 years later. Let's say you got a grandkid that you want to put that money into. Well, let me change that, because you're not putting that annually in there for 10 years. You're only doing that for 2 years, right? I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Bear with me, because you only, well, no, let me change that. You're doing 2 years worth of $48,000. So that's right, but it's not an annual. It just has to grow. Let's change that calculation. So for 2 years, it gets 7.5%. So you got $53,000 after 2 years. I did that math wrong, guys. Bear with me. So let's say you got $53,000 after 2 years, and you die. Somebody takes that $53,000. Watch what I do here, guys. Somebody takes that $53,000. Let me refresh. Somebody takes that $53,000, and there's no other annual addition, because now that money is just growing for your grandchild over the next 10, 20 years. And let's say it grows for 10 more years, and it gets an interest rate of 7.5% for your grandchild, because your grandchild took your whole $48,000 and somebody invested it for them, and they're not adding anything to it, right? They're not adding anything to it. So now that $48,000 after 10 more years after you die turns into $109,000. I don't know if you guys followed me in what I said. Hopefully you did. But that's $109,000 for your grandkid 10 years later, long after you're gone, because you designated in your estate plan that that's what it would happen. Or let's say it's 20 years later. You don't want your grandchild to have the money until they reach about 30 years old, 10 years later, or 20 years later. That little money that you had, that you got from Social Security for that little 2 years, $48,000, it turns into $200-something thousand for your grandchild 20 years later. So this is generational wealth, right? I mean, this is how you do it, because you want that money to grow, and you want to have access to that money even though you don't need it. Again, this scenario is if you don't need the money and you just simply decide to take it when you can get it and just invest it because you don't need it. And you just have an estate plan that says, I want my grandchild to have access to this money when they reach the age of 30, 20 years from now. But when they get 20 years from now, they're going to have $200-something thousand. All right? And I know $200,000 won't be worth $200,000 then because of inflation. But who wouldn't want to have an extra $125,000, $130,000 laying around when they get 30 years old because grandma decided to get her Social Security, even though she only lived 2 years, she still got her Social Security and invested it. I mean, so this is why, in my opinion, you want to get your Social Security as soon as you can, because that's your money. And if you don't need it, just invest it. I hope that answered that question. So memories in action, if you're talking about things to be thinking about and doing, those are some things that you need to be thinking about and doing when you retire, as you retire. Man, that was a long answer. I'm sorry. Let's see. Do you think it makes sense to pay off land and vehicle loans before taking a mortgage to build a home? I do think you ought to pay off your car loan. That's for sure. But it's up to you, right? There's a lot of other variables involved with that. I have not read I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I haven't read it, but I'm going to write that down. Okay, so I got it written down. Thanks. You said that's Ramit Sethi. Just checking it out. I like to get new information. Thanks for that, Kent. Appreciate it. John High, 39, single, but financially support a few families. 500K net worth should be at least good for you, John. Congratulations. Sounds like you're doing well. Elvis, question. The Wolf of Wall Street, John Belford says the system is rigged against you when you trade short term, so you'll lose money. I'm not a short term guy. When it comes to investing money, guys, I'm all long term. Yes, you're not gonna. It never comes. Okay, day trading. I know it's a little bit different, but when you do things in the short term with the market, the way to make money in the stock market is really buy and hold. It's buy and hold. That's what I'll say to answer that, Elvis. Right? I think you got to be careful because the risk of losing money is so high when you're trading short term that sometimes you're too far in the frame of the picture to see the big picture. But yeah, I think you up your risk tremendously. Somebody said my first car was a Ford Escort as well. Hey, welcome to the club. Let's see here. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm getting there. I listen to his pod. Okay, jump, boom, 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 boom. Let's see. I'm trying to rush down here, guys. Here. Let's see. I'm missing a few, so don't beat me up. How much should I save if I make $1,500 biweekly? How much should I save if I make $1,500 biweekly? It depends on a lot of different things. It depends on what your bills are. It depends on how much money are we talking. It depends on living situation. It depends on do you have kids, not have kids. It depends on what your monthly take home is, and what your expenses, your monthly expenses are. So it depends on a lot of things. It just depends. But I think you want to. I would just say you want to invest or save as much as you can to have an emergency fund, and anything above the emergency fund, be investing it. Right? Do I use a particular app to track my spending, Marcel? No, I don't use apps for spending. I don't use apps for budgeting. I don't. I'm not a big app guy. There's nothing wrong. If you want to use an app to track your spending, that's okay. There's some good ones out there, YNAB and some other stuff, but I just don't use them. I'm an old school person a lot of times. I use pen and paper or spreadsheet and things like that. I don't rely on apps to do a lot of that stuff for me. Thoughts on upcoming recession in 2024, how it will affect the market. I think the market in 2024 is going to have some volatility. I think the market is not going to be great in 2024. It's an election year. We start the year off, as you can see, guys, with strikes over against Yemen. You know, there's some things building behind the scenes. If you're not watching the news and paying attention to what's going on, you may want to, because there could be a start of something really large going on out near the Red Sea and near Yemen in that area. That is tied to what's happening in Israel and so forth. So there's some big stuff that could happen that could affect the stock market, affect oil, affect the American economy in a big way. So pay close attention to that. I think we're going to have a lot of volatility in 2024. Jackson, Mississippi in the house. Good to have you. I've been there a few times. Do you think I could set up a detailing business where I don't have to pay taxes? No. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to ever tell you to don't pay taxes or set up something where you don't pay taxes. Pay your fair share of taxes. I don't think you could set up a detailing business where you don't have to pay taxes. No, you have to pay taxes. So that's just point blank. We all pay taxes. I pay taxes. You got to pay taxes too. So get a good CPA though. That CPA will help you out and give you the best route to go in terms of your taxes. A YouTuber recently admitted his purchase and renovation of a trailer park was $1 million disaster. He also owns low rental houses. Yeah, you got to be careful about the properties I owned over the years have been some of them have been in low rent areas, and I've had good luck with them. I've had no issues with those. It just depends on the area, the city, and your choice of tenant. That's the big deal. You got to be able to decide who you want to put in the property. If tenants are tearing up your property, you got to look within yourself. What are you doing wrong in terms of your screening? How do I deal with any haters that may post on your channel? Good question, John. I try to ignore the haters because listen, when you get 100,000 people, 100,000 subscribers, when you get 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, there will be haters, people that just don't like you for no reason. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They just don't like you. And that's okay, right? Just move on. I don't pay attention. There's a lot of people that don't like you. There's people that don't like you when you're broke, and there's people that don't like you when you have money. You got to move on. Thick skin. Be mature, right? When they go low, you go high, whatever that saying was, right? The point is, no, there's a lot of spammers out there, guys. Be careful of spammers in the chat below, and they're out there, man. These spammers are relentless with how they deal with stuff, man. They are all over it. Let me do this real quick. Let me take that banner off, guys. That banner's been there for a long time. It's annoying me. I don't know about you, but I took that banner off. So. So let's see here. I'm way behind. Let's see here. I've got time on me. Okay, yeah, I've got time on me too, right? I got a few things to do, but that's all right. I don't mind hanging out with you guys and talking. I enjoy being here, guys. So building wealth takes time, patience, and a lot of flexible spending. If I missed a few things, guys, that charge it to my scrolling, not to my heart here. Life insurance definitely gets expensive as you get older. Absolutely. And that's one of the other reasons why life insurance is for you when you are younger and you have people that are relying on your income. As you get older, the thought process is you need to become self-insured. And that's why you do all the things we talk about on the channel. Yeah, that is one rule of thumb, to buy 10 times your salary. Absolutely. Good point, Maria. Appreciate you bringing that up. All love from Camden, New Jersey, right? We got Trenton, New Jersey. We got Trenton. We got Patterson, New Jersey. I have a bad accent, right? For Jersey, right? Poor Righteous Teachers I was a big rap fan back in the day. PRT was from Jersey. Of course, you got, if people don't know, Queen Latifah was from Jersey. Lakim Shabazz was from Jersey, right? Big time. So let's see. A stock salesman works on commission, so the more they sell you, the more they make. Absolutely. I need your help signing up for a one-on-one chat. The link to the one-on-one chats are below in the description box of this channel. Also, you can join this channel. If you just want to pay $25 a month to have a one-on-one conversation with me about your personal situation, just join the advanced membership of this channel. If you really, really want to dig in deep, and I mean I dig in deep, and you want to have a one-on-one, you want to get on a Zoom call with me, you can pay for that as well, and the link to that's in the description. And there's a link to the schedule in the description box too. So check that out, guys. Don't forget, hey, it's hard. Most money people don't tell you this, but it's difficult giving money advice to a large group of people because you're generalizing, and some things don't apply to everybody, as I said earlier. So that's why I like the one-on-ones. And one day I'll do like a large conference or webinar or something like that. I think those are cool too, right? Let's see here. Thank you so much. You rock, John and Maria, right? Both of you all rock. Let's see. How do you quit gambling? Gambling can be a tough addiction. All right. Gamblers Anonymous, I think, is something that is important. You got to be careful. Leave the gambling alone. Get rid of the get rich stuff and pull yourself away from the craps table or from the game of 21, I think it's called. I don't know what that's called. I'm not a big gambler. I've been to a boat. We call it a boat here in the Midwest, but I've been to a casino 5 times in my life, maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. Good afternoon to you, Michael. Good to have you here. Let's see here. Question, do you think the psychological tricks casinos use to get people to gamble promote gambling addiction? Absolutely. Of course. When you walk into a casino, what is it? It's bright. It's airy. It's the same thing that they use. I read a study on this. It's the same thing they use in the shopping market, in the grocery stores, right? When's the last time you went in a grocery store and it was dark, right? They don't make stuff dark at the casino. They don't make stuff dark in the grocery store. It's bright. It's open, it's airy, everything, things are happening, people are moving, it's busy, right? It's the same psychological thing going on, right? It puts you in a mood to spend money. That's the whole purpose of the casino. That's the whole purpose of a grocery store. It puts you in the mood to spend some money, right? Things, sounds are happening. Cling, cling, bing, ching, right? Bright lights, boom, boom, pow, poof. Things are coming up all over the place. I just like doing that. Try that. Ping, boom, pow. Haven't done that in a long time. But the point is, yes, it promotes you to spend money. It promotes you to do that and maybe have an addiction. You just got to be careful about that. Pull away if you can. Let's see. Question said, how do you pay your bills 2 times monthly? I'm trying to do it, but some billers, electric, mobile, will not change my billing date. Here's how I do it, John. That's a great question. 75% of my bills I pay. I don't allow them to take money out of my checking account. Okay? 75% of my bills I pay. There's a few of them that actually come out of my account, right? But for the most part, I pay because I want to control when I pay them, right? I don't want them to just pull out every single thing out of my bill because they're going to pull it out when they want to. They're going to pull out. No, I want to be in control. This is a big piece of managing money. I want to control when that light bill comes out. I want to control it because I only want to pay it twice a month. If it's due on the 13th, I pay it on the 15th. If it's due on the 18th, I pay it on the 15th. If it's due on the 31st, I pay it on the 1st. If it's due on the 5th, I pay it on the 1st. I pay it. That's really important when you're trying to do that, John, is to make sure that most of your stuff is just not coming out automatically where you don't see it. Now, that when you don't see what you spend and it just comes out automatically, that's a psychological thing too. Very easy for them to raise your fee, add an additional $2 here or there without you seeing the itemized bill, right? So that's something to think about. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rashana. No savings at 45, making $80K a year. Now what? Lily in the field. Now's the time to put together a plan. Let's do it. So, join this channel. Let's have a 30-minute talk, and let's put together a plan for you to get going. You're not too old at 45, but you got to start, right? Let's see. Real talk for the money. Your words. Mark, let's see. Thank you for your encouragement. Hey, always, Maria. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. We're here to help other people, not just help me, right? Still young, 53 is still young, but lifting heavy reasonably is definitely important as you age, maintain muscle. Trey, good point. I don't feel the need to lift heavy, right? I don't like lifting. I like to be able to pull my own weight at my age. I just don't want to overexert myself. Corvette girl, thank you. You're welcome. Let's see here. Oh, Vanden Van, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, I'm just now getting to it. I'm a little behind. And he said, thanks for this information. I'm 38 and wish I would have had this information sooner, but I'm learning from you. Congratulations, Vanden. You're on the right track. You're starting to think about your money. You're starting to be intentional with your money. You start to focus on your money. You're on the right track. 38, you're at a great age to really get going. And I guarantee you, if you focus on some of the things I say, you're going to be a millionaire in 10, 15, 20 years. You can do it. Somebody said, where did I find a coach, a voiceover coach? If you want to do voiceovers, join a voiceover community. Start Googling it. Start looking on YouTube. Start going on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Join those voiceover communities. They're going to be out there for you. Let's see. I'll give you one. Carrie Olson, Carrieolsen. Carrie Olson. She's near here, but she's a good coach as well. I've heard some good things about her. Of course, there's David Fennoy. Dave Fennoy, Fennoy. He's out of California, professional. You'll hear his voice on TV. He does a live every Wednesday on YouTube, and he's a great guy. Check him out. Hi from Richmond, revamping my budget, try to cancel all my subscriptions. Good job. Let's see here. Any thoughts on extreme couponing? Be careful with extreme couponing. Sometimes extreme couponing can go over the top, and you can become addicted to that, right? And you can also game the system in a lot of ways in terms of extreme couponing. Guys, I'm not perfect, but I try to be about doing things with money with integrity, right? With good character. And sometimes with extreme couponing, it can become a little bit, you're teetering the line for some people in terms of morality. So just be careful with that. Don't cross that line and have fun with it, and help other people with it, right? Let's see here. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. How to create a travel budget to travel international. Well, with anything, Sonia, you can create a sinking fund, right? You put $50 a month towards it or $150 a month towards it and make sure that you use that money for travel. I would not travel broke. I got a video coming out, by the way, in about a week or less that says, don't travel broke. You'll see that video because a lot of people travel broke, and I wouldn't suggest that. Let's see here. 32 years old, 82K in savings, 7-year home ownership, and make 150K. Here's what's next, Brandel. Here's what's next. Make sure you have emergency money. 82K in savings is a lot. Make sure that you have only 6 months, 3 to 6 months of your emergency money in savings, and invest the rest of that money. Don't be keeping $82,000 sitting in a savings account at the bank down the street making 0.01% interest. Don't do that to yourself. Keep what you want to keep in an emergency. Take the rest of that money and invest. That's what I would do. Making 150K a year. Make sure you dial back your living, right? Try to live as frugal as possible, right? Don't have a lot of debt, right? Let's see here. I'm moving fast now. What do you know about purchasing properties that have been seized due to late taxes and making them rentals? Those are great. Buy those on the courthouse steps. Nothing wrong with them. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you're able to go through the property and you can look at the roof. You can look at the gutters. You can look at the grading next to the house to make sure water's draining away from it. You can look at the cracks in the drywall. Do the windows raise? Do the doors close? How's the floor? Is the floor stable? Go in the basement, look up underneath the floorboards. Go in the attic, look up underneath the roof, right? Do your due diligence on those properties and make sure you are buying a property that's got good, solid bones when you do that. But those are great things to buy. Are NFTs a scam? I'm not an NFT, guys. I'm not an NFT guy. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, I wouldn't do them. I would stay clear from those, right? Buying an online painting for $75,000 and all that good stuff. There's other NFTs besides that, but don't do it. Glad to have you here, Money Coach Malika. Please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. Share the link as we have this conversation. It's not really about money. It's about Ask Me Anything. And I'm we're doing a long live today, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that at all, guys. I usually look at an average of 40 properties before I find the deal. Excellent, Steve. Very good. Because you got to look at a lot of properties to find a good deal. Fantastic. How do you find good deals in real estate? Lots of ways, guys. I mean, referrals is always good. Knowing people knowing what you do. Joining a real estate association. A lot of times real estate associations, they'll have information. There'll be other investors in there, but sometimes you can find deals. Joining the local real estate communities online, whether it's, I don't know if it's Facebook or wherever. You join these groups of folks. Sometimes you'll find some, and then also you can just do the old bird dogging, right? What's the bird dogging? You're going out finding motivated sellers, right? Being comfortable looking up properties at your local county registrar, or wherever you're looking at, right? So there's lots of ways to find them. They're out there. Let's see. What should they do with their... Okay. I have another question. My parents have a farm with 58 acres. Farm has 2 lakes, 2 fishing lakes, 30 acres of tillable land, and about 25 acres of woodland. Well, I don't know much about land, to be honest with you. I only own about a quarter of an acre somewhere in the inner city. So I'm not a big land guy, but I would see what are the ways to make money from the land. Is the land going to be yours at some point when they pass on? If it's going to be your land, then you need to figure out, okay, how can I start to make money off of this 58 acres, right? In terms of the farmland, right? The tillable land. And as well as, what about the woodland? Is there anything I can do with that land? Or do I want to just develop this land? Or do I want to sell the land? You got to start making some hard decisions. I'd love to have a one-on-one with you about that. Because there's a lot of things you can do with that. So sign up below, join the advanced level of this channel. That's what I would do. I would figure out how should I make money off the land, and also keep in mind with the land, how are you going to pass the land along? If you want to keep the land in your family, do you want to pass it along? What mechanisms do you have in place to make sure that the next person, your child or grandchild, has access to the land if something happens to you? If you start collecting Social Security, isn't there a cap to how much money you can make? Yes, absolutely, John. Great question. If you get your money at 62, there is a cap. Keep that in mind. Glad you brought that up. Thanks. I must have missed. I didn't talk about that earlier. Let's see. Can you get Social Security and still keep working? Jim and I said, as we just said, yes, you can, but there's a cap. Let's see here. Loving this. Okay, thank you. I would start a pig farm. That's a good one. Miss V is in the house. Good to have you. Good to have you, Miss V, as always. First car was a 78 sedan DeVille. Any questions for me personally? Doesn't have to be about money, guys. It can be about anything. Somebody said YNAB is really good to have. Question, we plan on buying another house, but I want to add a tiny home to the property, an Airbnb to travel nurses. It may be a good idea, Miss V, but I want you to really think about the resale value of a tiny home. Tiny homes are in vogue, they're popular, they're nice, but be researching the resale value of a tiny home, right? How are tiny homes starting to look like they're appreciating, or are they not appreciating? What's some of the long-term diagnosis of what's going to happen with these tiny homes we see popping up? Also, what is the law regarding tiny homes in your area, right? What are the zoning restrictions or not restrictions and all this? You got to know all that stuff before you do that. But I would be very careful about a tiny home. Just understand the risk involved as you get into that. Let's see here. Protecting your assets if a spouse owes child support. Very important thing to do. I'm not sure what you mean by it. You got to be a little deeper on that, Maria. Ask it a little more thoroughly, and I can maybe answer that question, or at least give you an answer. Let's see here. If you ain't get no haters, you ain't popping. Be great said. I guess so. It happens, man. There's people that I'm also an administrator on one of the largest Facebook groups on Facebook. Top 30 something Facebook group, and on all the Facebook group has over 1 million subscribers or 1 million followers on that Facebook group. And I put things in that Facebook group sometimes that people don't like, but I do it because I think that we got to think differently about money. Let's see, Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, a tax strategist works good. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see here. Thank you for that reminder. What are the pros and cons of selling a house with a bank involvement? A person wants to purchase 40% down in a monthly payment. We had the house on the market for a year and a half. Just be careful. Read the fine line. Without getting more detail, I would say read the fine. Miss V, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. I'm sorry, I'm just now getting to it. You probably put this up a while back. My apologies, but thank you so much. She said, thanks for the great information. I plan on adding a tiny home to my property to rent out to traveling nurses. Good idea. Like I said, I would be very careful. If you're in an area where you know that there's going to be traveling nurses there's quite a bit, I would say it's not a bad idea, but just see because you're not going to always own that tiny home, right? That $100,000 you spend building that tiny home, or $50,000, it might be better spent on something that when there's not a traveling, let's say the hospital closes down or something like that, or the hospital stops accepting traveling nurses, but you have this little tiny house and now you can't rent it out because nobody else wants to rent it. I'm talking about the year 2028, 2030, who knows what's going to happen, right? And so what I'm saying is make sure that that the money might be better spent instead of buying the tiny house, taking that money and buying a good solid 3-bedroom, 2-bath rental house that can broaden the scope of people that may want to rent there. Just think about that, right? Something to think about and jog your memory. But there's nothing wrong with building a piece of property for rental if you have that money to do that. Let's see here. Where should I invest $30,000? I've built my emergency fund and feel like I have too much money sitting in savings. Excellent question there. Where should I invest my $30,000? I'm a total stock market index fund, or at least a S&P 500 index fund person. Index fund or ETF, right? Either one is where I'd be looking at taking that money and investing it. I don't know what platform you invest on, whether it's Fidelity or whatnot, or Charles Schwab, but taking that $30,000 and investing it in a broad. Now I say broad. Earlier I said the stock market's going to be a little volatile, right? But you're investing your money for the long haul, right? Not just for this year. You're investing it for the long haul. I think that's a good place to put it. Let's see here. Ms. V, make sure your county has no issues with tiny homes. Absolutely. That was important. Let's see here. 39 from Dallas. I need a plan soon. Just looking for a push in the right direction. The push is this channel, Meet Bert. This is the channel that says build up the foundation and then add all the stuff on top. This is common sense financial advice. Thank you, one conservative one. Let's see. Smart Money Bro, for someone not ready for headaches or tenants, you think REITs are not bad. Nothing wrong with REITs. Do your research. Every REIT is not the same, okay? Do your research on the REIT. They're very important. Let's see here. Set up alerts on Zillow, 41. Hey, I just found your channel at the gym this morning. Dad Bod, thank you for being here. Please subscribe to the channel. Please smash the like button for me. We're just talking money. We're having a basic Q&A. and people are asking me questions about anything, not just money, but anything, right? So, and we come on here, so you guys know, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursdays and at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday mornings, guys. So, Central Standard Time here in America. Let's see. My Facebook group is Smart Money Bro. What is my Facebook group? Just pull up Smart Money Bro under groups, and you'll see my group here. Somebody said, do I have children? Yes, I have 3 grown children. I have a 34-year-old, a 28-year-old, and a 22-year-old about to be 20, a 23-year-old about to be 24. I have 3 grown children, 2 girls, 1 boy. And, you know, they're teachers. A couple of them are teachers. One of them's an RN. So they're doing pretty well for themselves. So, yeah, I have 3 children grown. Are they smart with money? I don't know. It's hard. When you have children, man, and young people, they should just younger culture, they're okay with money, right? They're okay with money. They understand all the things that I talk about. So, but do they actually do everything I talk about? No, not necessarily, right? No fault of mine. I did my best, right? How did you teach your kids about money? I taught them, one of the things I taught my kids is you have to work for everything, right? And don't blame other people for what you have and don't have. You got to work for everything you want in this world. Nothing's going to come to you free. That's a very important lesson I taught them about money. And I taught them the fact of frugality is important. Don't rely on money to make you happy. Money's not the biggest and most important. Don't do anything for money, right? That's very important. That's a big rule that I always had as they grew up. And I also gave them an allowance and so forth for things they did in terms of work and so forth. But they don't follow every single thing I preach and talk about. No, if you're a parent and you got a kid that follows every single thing you've told them to do, man, you got some great kids. But it just don't work like that with children. So they follow some of the things, some they don't, but they're good people, and that's all that matters. Let's see here. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I look 34. Man, are you kidding? That's pretty cool. I look 34 years old. I appreciate that. No, I'm a good 53 years old. I try to eat right. Guys, a big secret of mine, I say secret, it's not really a secret, but one thing I try to do really is I try to eat healthy. I'm not perfect. I will stop and get some fries at McDonald's sometimes, right? I'm not healthy, and I don't eat a lot of meat at all. The only meat I really eat is a little bit of turkey meat here and there, and wild-caught fish or wild-caught salmon. I haven't eaten chicken in years. I haven't eaten really beef in years. I haven't eaten pork in years. I eat a lot of good stuff, right? So I spend a lot of money. I'm guilty as charged. I spend a lot of money on food, good food, right? I don't really buy food from Walmart or Target or things like that. I might buy some Doritos or something because I like Doritos, but I usually buy food at healthy stores and so forth. So I try to eat really well and I try to walk. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't do everything perfect with money. I don't do everything perfect with eating right or working out. But I'll walk today. I'll walk and do a little lifting today. And I try to do that, right? But one area I slip in, full disclosure, I need more sleep, right? I don't sleep as much as I should sleep. So that's one thing, right? Let's see. Elvis said you think, how did you have finances? How did me and my wife approach finances? At first, they were separate finances, but then ultimately 5, 6, 7 years, put everything in one pot as a married couple. Threw everything in one pot, and we paid everything out of one pot. Do I think a recession is coming in 2024? Maybe. We said recession in 2023. We was all over recession. It didn't happen, right? So I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be a downturn in the market, and there's a lot of volatility that's going to happen. Plus, you have an election season. 2024 is going to be a very, very interesting year in terms of finances and the U.S. economy. So please pay attention to it. There's internet chatter about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, digitizing the U.S. dollar, so no more paper coins. Be very careful about that, guys. When these CBDCs really take place, you're going to lose your freedom. You can't. If all money became digital, guys, that means you can't put money under your mattress. You can't keep a stash of money. That means they know everything that you spend, and if they don't agree with what you think or you say something that you don't agree with, they cut your money off. Listen, I'm just telling you to be cautious about CBDCs. If you can write your congressperson or write your whoever and tell them we don't want central bank digital currency, you need to do it because it's going to take a lot of your rights away as a person with money. And we'll dig into that too as it approaches, right? Guys, please Please smash the like button. If you are, there's there's over 110, 115 people in this chat. Everybody, we ought to have 115, 130, 200, 400 likes. Please smash the thumbs up button for me. I don't care where you're at. You're out shopping. Stop what you're doing. Press that button and hit the like button for me, guys. It's very important you hit this smash up. The smash up, smash the thumbs up. Very important, guys. Very important. Please do me that favor. I'm not asking for anything. You ain't got to sign up for my course. I'm not selling you any type of anything. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just giving you good information. So please, that's all I'm asking. It's you smash the like button. And if you want, share the video with somebody. All right. What is my thoughts on long-term care insurance? Okay to get after you reach age 62, if you want to, or age 60, 62, you want to spend a little bit of money on long-term care insurance because I think it's okay to do. All right. Let's put it like that. I really think it's okay to do. How do you protect your assets so that a child support will not seize them due to a spouse owing them? It's a good question. Maria, what I would do is I would talk to an attorney. I don't really know all the ins and outs of exactly how to protect your assets. So Maria, I would talk to a good solid attorney in your area about that. You and your spouse. That's what I would do. Christopher Dukes, thanks. I look young, but I do have a little experience with this money thing over the course of 20 some odd, 30 some odd years. Let's see here. Yeah, it is like pulling teeth when you have kids. Forgive me because I don't know your circumstance. Did you take over your parents' finances at age? My father passed away back in the 90s, and he had no finances, zero at all. He didn't have a life insurance policy, nothing like. I come from a very, very poor background. Okay, I didn't come from money. I didn't come from two-parent home that grew up. Now, I have older siblings that were in the house with two parents. I was not. So I didn't, and like I said before on another broadcast, both of my parents came from, neither one of them graduated high school. They, started having kids at a young age, very impoverished situation. But as I grew up, thankfully, my mom ultimately went back to college to get her degree, and she became an RN in her 40s. And so when I tell you that age is nothing but a number, it's never too late, it's because my mother is a living example of that. She went back to school. She, raised kids and went back to school and got her degree and became an RN and, spent 50 years in nursing. She's still living and she takes care of herself. She's able to maintain and take good care of herself. So she's okay. So I haven't had to take over my parents' finances at all. Good question. Exactly. I'm pretty too new to the journey. Spent the last 3 years, my basics down. Just got my 3-month. Congratulations on your 3-month emergency fund. That's something to celebrate, right? When you get 3 months worth of your emergency money saved up, take about $50 and go celebrate. Go to a restaurant, spend some cash and take $50 and go celebrate, or go buy something for yourself for $40, $50, $60, because that's a milestone. Don't forget to celebrate milestones with your money when you reach them, right? And then the person also went on and says they want to increase their income. When should I focus on investing? I think if you have a job, make sure you're getting the match if your job gives you the match. I would also focus on getting out of your debt. If you have debt on things going down in value, get out of that debt as soon as possible. Maybe the debt snowball or debt avalanche method of getting out of debt. Now, in the meantime, always be getting whatever your job may match. And if your job doesn't match anything, I would still be taking 3 to 5% of my money and putting it in the market so you can start learning how to invest money even while you're trying to get out of debt. Even while you're trying to learn, be learning how the platform of Vanguard works, how the platform of Fidelity works by investing 3% of your money or 5% of your money in there to start your investing. You have to play around with it a little bit. You got to read. I would also put reading into my plan if I were you. Be reading about money, reading about investment, learning about it, right? Those are some things I would focus on. Love your channel all the way from Angola. Good to have you. Wow, long way away. Where can I start to invest? Soon to be 61. I would say open up a brokerage account. I like Vanguard. CBDC is the mark of the beast waiting to happen. Maybe. Let's see here. Yeah, the definition of recession just changed, right? There was supposed to be a recession at the end of last year, right? Let's see here. When it comes to investing, what do you think about in business buying? I like business buying. I think that's okay idea if you have the money to do so, right? there is a lot of risk, but it comes with some positives too, right? You have a list of vendors that are already there. You have an infrastructure that may be in place that could use a little improvement upon. So it is slightly risky, but I like the idea of buying a business if you're in the position to buy the business, right? Mrs. Moore, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this with other people, guys. And I'm just here to help, guys. Again, I offer some one-on-one services. I offer a joining of this channel where you can get one-on-one with me, but I'm just here to help you guys. I have a 9 to 5. I don't pay my bills with anything extra that I do outside. Now I do some one-on-ones, and I do the advanced on this channel, the joining the channel advanced. I do get money from that because it's my time, right? And I get money from YouTube as well. Doing these lives and things on YouTube, I get paid through AdSense, right? And I get a little bit of affiliate marketing money. As I said before, Mint Mobile is one that I partner with Mint Mobile. And when you click on Mint Mobile and sign up for Mint Mobile using my link in the description box below, I get a little commission, right? That's affiliate marketing. But the thing about that is that I don't have a course or anything big to sell you for $999. No, I don't do all that type of stuff. And there's no weekend boot camps and anything like that, guys. Just watch the video, share the video, like the video. That's all. It's just information, guys. How hard is it to make an ebook? Great question. It's fairly simple. And you can make an ebook that's 5 pages long. You can make an ebook that's 40 pages long. It doesn't mean anything. You can make an ebook on Canva. You can make an ebook on Microsoft Publisher. You can upload your ebook to Amazon. There's a learning curve, right? Obviously, but you can learn to do it. I've got 2 books on Amazon, one about buying used cars cash and one about real estate if you're looking to get into real estate. So if you look up Smart Money Bro on Amazon, you'll see I have a couple of books on there. I put them on there a couple of years ago. Yes, please hit the like button. Please. Thank you, Larry, for saying that. Thank you for your reminder about celebrating success. Absolutely, John. Do that, man. I'm not well about celebrating my successes either. I know I'm just grinding, but we got to stop and smell the roses a little bit. Life only comes around one time. And when you achieve something like behind me, I don't have like a bunch of plaques and stuff like that, right? I've just never been the type of person that put up a bunch of plaques, and I don't necessarily set the environment, nothing like that. I'm more of a dude's dude type of dude, right? I'm really, really dude, where I don't really get off into that type of stuff, but I need to more. And that's one of the reasons I want to tell you that, John. Appreciate you, Marvin. Maria, excellent. Thank you. John, hi. I appreciate the super chat, man. I appreciate you more than you know, man. You're always here for the lives, always asking questions, always participating, man. That brings me joy. I appreciate it. Like Anita Baker said, you bring me joy. I'm not a singer. Let's see. Question. Don't know if you answered this, where you can find voiceover coaches. Now, what they charge. Okay, you asked that earlier, and I kind of half answered it. I'm sorry, one conservative chick. You can find voiceover coaches in a lot of ways. You can Google it, right? But I gave you a few of them. Carrie Olsen, Carrieolsen. She's a good coach. I've heard good things about her. Dave Fenoy is out of LA, and he's good. He offers services. Most professional voiceover. Oh, Anthony Pica, Pica. Great guy, and he offers voiceover. I gave you a few of them right there that you can use, but you can Google them too. What do they charge? Some of them charge $200 an hour. Some of them charge $150 an hour. Some of them charge $400 an hour. But if you want to get serious about voiceovers, it's worth it. You need some training. I have a great voice, right? I have a great voice. I was born with this voice, right? I did have to get some coaching to learn some things about doing voiceovers, because when you do voiceovers, you got to change. You can be that announcer type like this and live coming on. You can be that announcer type, or you can be like this. Yo, man, what's up, dog? You know. I mean, you can change how you do the voiceover, but you got to learn how to do that, right? You got to have a good ear, and you got to know how to project, not to project, how not to, spit all over the mic, how to breathe. I mean, there's so much to it that it's more than just having a great voice, right? So get some coaching, and coaching is well worth it as you learn. Also, if you're going to do voiceovers, let me give you this little tip. One thing you should try to do if you're going to do voiceovers is try to do a little improv, a little acting, right? When you learn to do a little improv and change and go in and out of character, That helps you with voiceovers, because when you do voiceovers, you got to get out of your character. You got to become whatever that client wants you to become while you're doing that voiceover. That's a mental shift that a lot of people have to learn to do. That's what coaching will teach you how to do. But improv and coaching and all that good stuff, excellent. And so you can find your coaches also through joining communities. Voiceover, there's a wonderful voiceover community out there. Join some of these communities that are out there on Facebook and on IG, etc., LinkedIn, right, wherever it may be. Am I a Dave Ramsey follower? Yes, I like Dave Ramsey. I don't agree with every single thing Dave Ramsey says. I'm not the person that will defend Dave Ramsey and beat you up if you don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey says. That's not necessary, right? I glean from a lot of different sources. J.L. Collins, Jack Bogle, you name it, guys. People on the internet, right? YouTubers, all right? There's people that I listen to, and Dave Ramsey, I like him. I like his perspective, and I like kind of how he looks at kind of the basic foundations and so forth. But I don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey says, right? But it is similar. My ideology is very similar to his. Let's see here. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Do I know anyone who has bought a business, and how did it go? Yeah, I know a few people that have bought a business. I know a couple of people that it went well, and a couple of people it didn't go so well. But when you buy a business, you have to be ready to buy all the problems that come with that business, right? All of the issues, all of the problems that they face in terms of their market share, all that. Now, it offers great opportunity, because you can take that business and grow it, but you can also take that business and run it in the ground too. So know what you're doing. I killed that note. I'm not a singer at all. Should I buy the Bitcoin ETF? Up to you. I haven't done my research. As I mentioned earlier, if you haven't watched this whole thing, slide back through. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not really well versed on the Bitcoin ETF just yet. I do know there's some really big players that are in it, but I know Vanguard is not in it. I know Jamie Dimon is not in it, etc. But so I'm on the fence. I gotta do my research. Let's see. I'm still scrolling through. I might miss a few guys. Don't beat me up. Two could never. Let's see. Question: should we invest 5% in a 401k and 5% in a Roth IRA, or just simply 10%? As much as if you're young, as much as you can get in the Roth, the better. Okay. The much as you can get in a Roth, if sometimes jobs will offer a Roth option, but as much as you can get into a Roth IRA, the better, in my opinion. Okay. So if you want to do 5% pre-tax 401k and you want to do 5% in a Roth, that's good. If you just simply want to do 10% in your 401k because you want to reduce your taxable income, that's cool too. This is why it's really important to work with somebody in terms of a CPA or somebody, or do your research to see what best fits for you. For some folks, it might be, hey, I know that my income is going to be more when I retire, so let me go ahead and do a Roth now, or whatever it may be. So that's kind of a personalized question. 5% in the 401k, 5% in Roth. I think that's okay. Nothing wrong with that at all. Yes, I do manage my own portfolio. I do not use an advisor. Yeah, and I do suggest if you have a max at your job, get that max. Get that match, right? If there's a match at your job, get that match, the full match as much as possible, because that is almost basically, really, it's like free money in the end, right? So, and if your employer does not offer a match, still invest 3 to 5% of your money, either at your job or at a brokerage, right? If you like what your job does with the money and they don't have any match, you got to research. You got to know what your job is investing your 3% in or your 5% in. If you like what they're doing, great. Go with your job. If you don't like what your job is doing, you have the option of still investing 3 to 5% of your money, but just don't do it with your job. Just open up your Fidelity account, right? Yes, Leon, in the description box below, there's links. I think my email might be in the description box. It's on here. You can join this channel and get a 25 or 20-minute conversation with me once a month for $25. Who offers that for $25? If you want 30 minutes with most people out here that have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, you're going to be paying $300, $400, $200, right? $800. There's some people, I won't name names, that you gotta spend $20,000 for an hour talking to them. I would never do that to people, right? That's just my opinion. If they do it, that's fine, but I wouldn't do that. Let's see here. I appreciate. Hey, you're welcome, Helen, anytime. So, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. 2 hours of a live talking about money and asking me anything was fun, fun, fun. I appreciate it. And look, I got those overactive tear ducts are still working, man. I don't know what to do about that. It happens really in the winter. It's snowing out here and all this good stuff. And so I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me. Real Talk with Smart Money Bro. I appreciate you guys being here. I thank you more than you know. If you came in here late, rewind it back to the beginning. Watch as much as possible. Simple Q&A, guys. And we're going to do this sometime and do it a little more often because I know you guys have questions. But please check the description box. I have free stuff down there. I also have a link to my one-on-ones that are 2 hour long that we sit and have these conversations. We share screens. We go over your specific information. We set a plan for you. We talk about the things that you need to do based on your situation. Also, join the channel, of course. Free 24 Laws of Money. If you're thinking about a good, solid cell phone, premium wireless plan, look at Mint Mobile. They're solid. They use the world's largest 5G network. Click that link down below. Smash the like button. We should have 1,000 likes on this video, guys. Share it. The absolute best way to support this channel is to share the videos that you see coming out. We got another video coming out in about an hour or so, guys. So check that video out too. I think you'll love that content. It's only a 10 or 11 minute video, but it's excellent content. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Again, we'll be here next Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then again next Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you have a question and you don't want to go to a financial advisor or you want a second opinion, drop it in the comment section once this video is up on YouTube. Drop it in the comment section. And on these lives, I really try to answer all of your questions that I see in the comments. And be careful about the scammers down there, guys. I appreciate you for being here and spending some time with me on this Saturday, guys. As I always say, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.